Good afternoon, everybody. Ninja Nick here. Today we're working on my niece's 05 Dodge Stratus again. Today we're doing the hub bearing. We're going to do another video on the rear struts. Got to get them in still. Yeah, her car was pretty broken. But today we're doing the hub bearing. Or wheel bearing, wheel hub bearing, whatever you want to call it. Wheel bearing, hub bearing, whatever you want to call it. So, let's get to it. Okay, so I got my new hub bearing here. I'll take it out of the box so you can see what it looks like here. This is it right here. Literally what the wheel bolts to. There's 3 bolts on the back of it, and then 1 in the center. That 1 in the center you're going to need an impact for, or a really big braking bar and someone really strong, because that's usually torqued to about 100 foot-pounds of torque, and if it looks like this one, nice and rusty, you're not going to get it loose. Not easily, at least. So let's see if we can get this loose here. All right, get my impact here. Get the socket off. Get our 30 millimeter on. And we'll put it on there and see what we get here. Ow, that hurts my ears. Probably not for you too. And see? Now be careful, because this is really hot. I shouldn't be grabbing it. Now let's see. Is the axle loose? Yes, it is. You always want to make sure your axle will push in, like I just did that, because it's actually supposed to be farther up. But I have had it to where the axle is rusted shut. See? That's where it's supposed to be. But you want to make sure it slides in there. Like that. It should be free after that nut comes off. And that means we're going to be able to get it out easy. I hope. Because these hub bearings are usually stuck pretty good. So next we're going to take the brake caliper off. And the brakes. And then we'll get this rotor off. I'll show you how to do that. For the brake caliper, you're going to need a H7. I did this when I did the brakes on it, because the brakes were bad on it. I mean, yes, it does need a new rotor, but she can't afford that, so this is what we got to work with right now. Put it on my socket here. If I can get it on now. Snap it on. Now this side did not have the caps on it, but usually there's caps over the bolt holes there. Those rubber boots right here is where your bolts are to hold your caliper on. So let's get them broke loose here. Get my socket in there. Get them nice and loose. The good news is I've already broke these loose once. Alright, we're going to cut to a seam here so you ain't got to watch me take these bolts out painstakingly. Okay, so now we got the caliper off. Sorry. Now we got 2 bolts here and here that hold this bracket on. Now we gotta get that off to get the rotor off, to get to the hub, which they're not hard to get out, thankfully. But they're 18 millimeter, which I got my old trusty Harbor Freight ratchet. Yeah, my lifetime warranty on it. It gets beat to hell, and then they replace it for free. So we're gonna crack these loose real quick here. Get my ratchet on that. And give her a crank here, if I can get it. Sorry, I'm trying to. But you want to loosen them up? Because these do have Loctite on them usually. So they take a little bit of force. Let me get the ratchet on the other one here. And then crack it loose. and then the bracket will start to move. And the bracket will start to move here when you get them loose. Oh, my ratchet fell off. Well, let me get this off. Hang on. Okay, so it is off. I'm not gonna lie to you guys. I actually cheated. After I broke them loose with the ratchet, I used my impact to take them off. I said, the heck with it. So now we got these star bolts back here. I don't know if you guys can really see them or not. Let me see. Yeah, turn the light on here. Yeah, right there. There's 3 of them. And then one on the other side there, too. Now, you may have to turn the wheel to get to these. These 2 I can get to right now, but I'm going to have to turn the wheel to get to the last one. And that'll loosen this wheel hub up. And then you want to smack it with a good-sized hammer, and it should break loose and it'll wiggle out. Now, a lot of people say you got to take the axle out. I never do, if I can avoid it. Because I don't like breaking ball joints loose, because then you end up busting them, and then they got to get replaced, and yeah. I'm not doing that. So I will show you what I mean here in a minute. Okay, so I got all the bolts out. Here's what they look like. Hang on, let me get it on out here. Literally a star head, or inverted hex, or star. They got a name for them, but I can't remember what it's like, E something. But I don't never use those sockets, okay? As you see, it's not stripped. I literally used a 7/16 regular socket to get them off. Fits nice and snug. Find the right socket that fits on yours. The only time I've ever used the E's is when I was working on a Mercedes or a Volkswagen or a German car, usually. Those are just something. I don't know what the heck they are, but they are something. They got their own bolts, and you got to buy special tools for those. That's another story for another day. All right, so now the wheel bearing is free. I mean, it's still stuck in there, but it's free. It's not bolted down no more. There's no bolts left in it. If I can look at the bolt hole. Yep, all 3's out. So now we get our hammer, which I'm gonna go get my claw hammer here. Oh. Whatever I did with it, I did something with it. There it is. Which, as you see, somewhere. And we just knock it. You knock it loose. Just like that. Got it loose. See, it's still sitting on the axle. Now you just wiggle it off the axle. It should come off. Be a pain in the butt, apparently. Just like that. There you go. She's out. Throw that over there. And as you see, I did not take the axle out. I did not even prep the spindle loose. Everybody says you can't do it without it. Bull. You just watch me do it. I never broke anything loose. Look, all the rust is still there. Same down here. Where were the bolts at? Right there it is. Rust still there. I didn't take it out. Of course, that bottom one, you gotta take the axle out so you can get to the bolt easier. But yeah. Don't let anybody tell you any different. And then putting it in is just the reverse. Let me get my wheel bearing out here. Now, if your axle's got a little rust on it, and it don't want to go on right, you can do a little bit of WD-40. Works miracles to get these on. Trying to do this one-handed, it ain't working out for me here. I don't know if you guys can see that. I'm trying here, you guys. The camera that fell. There she is. Let me look at my pants leg, sorry. Okay, so I got it on there. Oh, what'd I do? I zoomed in. How'd I do that? Okay, so I got it on there. So next thing I like to do is I like to put the bolt through, and I'll thread it a few threads. And when I do this, I tighten each one a little bit, tighten the next one, and it'll pull it right onto it perfectly. It'll line it up perfectly for you. Let me get the bolts in and I'll show you what I'm talking about. Okay, so now we got all 3 bolts in, or at least threaded on. So now we just snug them down slowly. I literally, well, since my middle one is not as snug as the rest, apparently. Hang on, I'm gonna try and do this here where you can see the wheel bearing pull in. And you just go with a few turns until it tightens up a little bit. You don't want to pull it too hard because then you'll warp it. You just snug them down slowly and they'll loosen each other up as they go. They literally will, so and there you are. She's all snugged down. She pulled in just nicely. Nice flush. Axle still loose, which is what we want. We don't want that axle tight. I mean, we do, but not to where it can't slide in the wheel bearing. Now we put our nut back on. Now you want to thread this on by hand at first. She may be a little snug, mattering how much rust you had on yours. Oh, that's the wrong socket. That ain't gonna fit. Am I 30? Yeah, it is. Okay. If you're wondering why I say that, is I have a 32 sitting here that I wasn't sure what size the socket was. Now you want to see how loose your axle is, which it's already snugging up. So you give it a little cranking. Like that. And there you go. She's nice and set. Now she's nice and set. Now we can go ahead and put our rotor back on, and then our bracket, then our brake pads, and then our brake caliper itself, and throw the wheel back on and call it a day. So that's how you do the wheel hub bearings, which it's starting to sprinkle now. Great, right? That's what I need. Anyway, let me get this finished up. I'll see you guys at the next video. This is Ninja Nick out. Till next one. Okay, one last thing before we get off here. Always make sure whenever you take the calipers off, before you go anywhere, make sure you get in and pump the brake pedal. Now you can do this while it's off or on, it don't matter. Which I'm about to take this car for a test drive, so pump the brake pedal. This way it resets the caliper. Because most of the time you gotta press them in a little bit to get them off, which I did. So, thank you for that.